Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to the library this afternoon. We are going to have our fourth and final database dive today here in the library for this semester. There will be more coming next semester. Today we're going to be talking about things that the Office of Career Services can help you with as you look for jobs and internships, and then also looking at some of the library's databases, including Going Global, even if you're looking for a job here at home, Mergent, Privco, and then something called the CPI calculator. But before we get into all that, I'd like to introduce Tiffany Shamoon from the Office of Career Services, and she's here to tell you about all they have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, and thank you to the LTU Library for hosting me. I am always open to wanting to talk more about our department so that we can really show students how we help them succeed outside of the classroom when they're looking to get their professional career started. So, as Cynthia mentioned, my name is Tiffany. I am one of the career services advisors in the office, but we do have two other advisors that current students and graduates are welcome to meet with, Jim Ritz and Peg Pierce. Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. And our appointment options, we try to make them as convenient as possible, so not only do we offer in-person, but also Zoom. All of our appointments can be booked on Handshake. I can talk about that a little bit more in a few moments. But walk-ins are welcome, but in order to make sure that we can guarantee you a spot and we know you're coming, book that appointment on Handshake, okay? One of the things students will ask, is there a limit how many times we can come in and see you? Absolutely not. If you feel like you need to come in once a week, tell us about your progress, make changes regularly, please feel free to do so. We are here to help you, okay? So this is just a little chart of all the different services that we offer. So I like to market our team in three different sections, I'll call them. We provide student advising sessions, so if a student needs any type of resume writing, cover letter writing, or interview preparation, that's the office that they will come to. One of my favorites is the interview preparation because a lot of students tend to feel nervous when they are interviewing for the first time. And they might not be sure how to prepare or what questions they're going to be asked. If you come and meet with one of the advisors, we will practice those regularly asked interview questions with you so that you will feel more confident in not only meeting the employer, but really being able to market your skills and explain what your abilities are, right? Because that's really the whole point of an interview. The second part of our responsibilities involve employer relations. And that's really where Handshake comes into play. We have over 20,000 approved employers on Handshake. And it is a fantastic recruitment portal that all current students and graduates of the university are welcome to be on in order to search for their next position. And then the third piece of it all, we also coordinate the campus career fairs that happen here at LTU. They are really our events of the year. It's really what we try to highlight, and it's our way of bringing fantastic organizations onto campus to really meet our talented students. All of the registration details, all of the companies who are attending will all be available on Handshake. So Handshake is really that central database that I want my students to get comfortable working on and working with, because that's how you're not only going to be able to communicate with us as your advisors, but you're also going to be able to stay in the loop with companies and organizations to figure out what's going on in the workforce, okay? So as I mentioned, it is LTU's main job portal. A lot of students, when they first start attending Lawrence Tech, they are so eager to work on campus, and we absolutely love to see that. You can make Handshake your first stop when you are looking for on-campus student employment. You will search LTU employment, and then all of the active postings will come up. Our departments here at LTU make it super simple. You will either apply with a resume or a resume and a cover letter, and with just a few clicks of a button, your application will get sent over to the hiring team. So a few other things that I really like about Handshake is a lot of students don't know that you can message employers. So a lot of students will visit my office and tell me, I have like 15, 20, 30 messages from employers. You know, obviously we tell all of our students, do your research, make sure you know who the company is, right? Make sure you feel comfortable enough to communicate with them and make sure it is a legit and viable organization. But it's a great way for you to communicate with organizations, and a lot of students can secure internships and interviews. If a recruiter is messaging you, take the time to research what that message is about. That could really be your next opportunity, okay? You can also register for all types of on-campus events that we put on. Usually registration is not required, but feel free to do so if you want to stay up to date with notifications or any additional details that might come forth. And then that is also how you can book career advising appointments, as I mentioned. One quick tip, and then I will be open to any types of questions. A lot of students that will be admitted to LTU won't have a Handshake account. You have to register for courses, and then once you do that, the account is automatically created, okay? So a lot of students will try logging onto Handshake using a personal email. Unless you're a graduate of the university and you don't have access to your LTU email, we ask that you don't use a personal email because we don't want to have those duplicate accounts in the system, okay? Please know that our office is open to any other questions that a student, faculty, or staff may have. This is just a general overview about who we are and what we do. Really, our goal at the end of the day is to help a student become more confident in their abilities to not only search for a job, but really be able to network with employers and make those connections, right? Because anybody can search for a position, but how comfortable you are speaking to an employer and your ability to market your skills is really gonna be what's key, and that's really what my team and I are there for, okay? Any questions regarding career services before I hand it off to Cynthia? Yes.
Can alumni make appointments to use assistants for interview or cover letter prep?
Yep, absolutely. So one of the things I love about our department, once you graduate, you are still a Blue Devil, right? So you can come back and utilize all of our services. If you don't have access to Handshake as a graduate, that's perfectly fine and understandable. You can just email our department and we can set something up. Yep. And then I do have business cards and flyers for any of you who would like additional information, okay? Yep. And then what you'll notice around campus is we have something called Quick Tips. Quick Tips are really neat because it's just a document that you can grab and go, and we have picked a variety of different topics to talk about. Cover letter writing, interviewing, career fair prep. So you'll notice these stands in the atrium, here in the library, in the residence halls. We have them in the field house. So feel free to grab one and gain some knowledge off of those as well. Good to go? Thank you all so much. Please know that our door is always open if you need any guidance, okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Tiffany. That was really wonderful information for everybody to have, staff and students alike. So thank you for all of your help with career resources and services. We're going to move on in our presentation today and learn a little bit about a library database or a database available to you here at your LTU library. And there are many ways. Tiffany mentioned several for the Career Services Department. There are many ways to get help from your LTU library as well. We are always open virtually online. That means 3 in the morning, 7 in the morning, midnight, 2 in the afternoon. You can always get a hold of us online. our librarian staff a chat service, and we also partner with other libraries across the state, across the country, and even into Europe. And those librarians have access to our resources just like you do as a student, so they can get in and help you real time with the L2 library resources. You can call us, you can send us an email, you can visit us here in the library, and our current library hours are always available on our homepage. So today's agenda is that we're going to talk quickly about 3 different databases here in your LTU library that can help you with employment information. Going Global is an employment information database. It helps you find jobs and internships here in the local Detroit metro area, across Michigan, across the United States, and globally across the world. Privco is a private company research database. Mergent Online is a public company research database. And then we'll take a couple of minutes to look at a calculator that's freely available to you to use online called the CPI inflation calculator, and that's for Consumer Price Index. So it helps you measure salaries or dollars that occurred in the past and what those translate to in today's salaries or dollars. It's going to be exciting. Buckle up. Okay, so if you are on campus or you are off campus, you can get into the L2 library databases by visiting your library homepage, and that is hyperlinked there. And then our databases are available under academic resources, which is located in the bottom left corner of the library's homepage. And you have academic resources and then databases A through Z. And for Going Global, which is the database we'll start with today, there's an alphabetical list at the top, A through Z. You're going to click on the letter G, and then go to Going Global underneath the list of databases that start with G. Amy, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you. Because I can't leave the microphone, so I need an assistant. So we're going to talk about Going Global. Pardon me. And Going Global includes information related to career and employment resources at home in the United States and abroad. It features country guides. It features major city guides for U.S. and international cities. Country and city guides include information on living there, such as the cost of living, local employer information, resume information, and other cultural considerations. Because even if you move across the United States, cultures in different areas can be very different. So you want to be aware of what things might look like in that area. You have company profiles, internship postings. I'll say that again, internship postings, job postings, again, job postings, H-1B visa search function. And for those of you who don't know what H-1B visas are, it's a way for our international students to maintain longer employment in the United States after graduation. So if you are, pardon me, an American student looking for jobs, you may think that that can't help you, but it really can. It can help you immensely, and I'll show you how that works. And then you can also create a personal account to save your information as you work through this database. When you log in, pardon me, I'm losing my voice today. Sorry about that. When you log in or click on G, then Going Global, your landing page looks like this, and it can be a little confusing. There's a lot there to choose from, but you really want to go to Log In automatically up there in the red circle, and Amy, you did a great job in reaching that. Thank you. When you land on the home page, there's a wealth of information for you to choose from. The navigation bar is at the top in green. Pardon me, you have your home screen. You have your career guides, jobs, internships, H-1B and OPT, and then employer directory. So we're going to look at all of those today, except the employer directory tab. We'll look for employers across our searches. We use the database. So the first option that you have on that ribbon is called career guides. And the career guides include country career guides if you're looking for a job in a country outside of the United States, global city career guides. Perhaps you're looking to move to Hong Kong and you could look for information on that city. And then U.S. career guides. Maybe you're looking to move to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and want information about getting employment there. These different guides include information on finding jobs in the local area, H-1B and OPT information, getting the job, building a network, how to find people who have things in common with you professionally in the new area, living there. And you have a lot of important considerations when you consider moving across the country, because dollars in different areas mean more or less, right? So perhaps you can buy eggs here for $3 a dozen, but in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they're a lot more expensive, or they could be far cheaper, and this guide will help you with that information. We'll give you a city overview and financial considerations along with cultural advice. So we have a slide here on what that looks like. If you're thinking of moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, again, it has information on finding a job, hiring opportunities, H-1B visas, and OPT, and then the page continues down after the screenshot, but that's what the landing page looks like. So you can see it's pretty easy. The headings are very easy to understand, and there's not a lot of distraction on the page where you're looking for what you need. It's pretty seamless, pretty easy to find. The next tab is the Jobs tab, and you can search by all jobs, or you can search by remote jobs. Maybe you really do want that job in Dallas-Fort Worth, but you really want to stay in Michigan. So you could look for something through the remote job search. You can enter keywords. They're asking you to put in the country that you want to work in, so that is mandatory that you fill the country in. And then if you have a city, if you really want to stay in Detroit, you could put in Detroit, and then you hit search for your results. So as you use this database, there are a lot of tips and tricks that come up on different pages to help you. And when you're doing a job search, one of the tips and tricks is OPT opportunities. So occupational professional training, which is after you graduate. And that slide, if it's useful for you, that little square is hyperlinked. So you can click on there and learn more about OPT opportunities. If you're looking for a job that uses your brand new MBA, they have tips and tricks on that, as well as how to find entry-level jobs, because we're not all graduating with a master's degree yet. So they have very helpful little snippets to guide you along the way. Internships, that screen looks very similar as well. You can search all internships, or you can search a remote internship position. And this slide also is hyperlinked to the information about using the internship search function. H-1B search, this is my favorite. I show it to everybody who asks me about any job-related information. And it's so helpful because it gives you a lot of information with a very easy search. I did a search here, just a very quick search of mechanical engineers, and I added S on engineers. That was my fault. A better search would have been mechanical engineer, singular as keyword. And I found a nice result of mechanical engineer 1, mechanical engineer 2, and mechanical engineer 3 at the same company, with 2 positions being located in Troy, 1 position being located in Dearborn, Michigan. The slide mentions that these are all in the Metro Detroit Warren area, so that's an indicator that this might be an area where a lot of these types of jobs exist, and maybe you could focus your geographic search in that area. And then it tells you the wage. How important is that? That's so very crucial. If you take nothing else away from this presentation, please remember that this database gives you wage information. So if you go in with an opportunity and you look to negotiate salary, you have an idea of what some of these employers will be paying. So if they offer you far less than this figure, you can probably make the assumption that they are trying to get you in for a lot of responsibility with low investment on their side, and that maybe is not a place for you to start your job. And then it tells you the year in which these H-1B visa tickets were pulled. So these are current salaries not dollars, Amy. Got it, I remembered. These are current salaries from 2023. Sometimes you will get salaries from 2016, or you'll get salaries from 2022, and it's pretty close, but still we've had a lot of inflation in the last year, and the CPI calculator that I mentioned, we'll take a look at that at the end of the presentation. That's where that comes in, because you can calculate last year's salary to this year's salary with inflation included, and what might that look like. So I want to find out more about this employer. These 3 jobs were offered through the same employer. And what going global offers you is a way to contact that employer, but it doesn't give you robust information. As Tiffany mentioned, you need to do your due diligence. Who is this employer? Who do they hire? What are their financials like? Are they currently in any lawsuits that could threaten my employment there? Have they downsized recently? Do they have new opportunities? Are they growing? If so, where? What are they doing? What are their current projects? This slide doesn't tell you any of that. And that's so important when you go into an interview, because if everything is equal between you and another candidate, and you know about that country, or I'm sorry, you know more about that company than they do, they're going to hire you. So the first database we will take a look at, that's again available for you to use here at your Lawrence Tech Library, is called Mergent Online. And you get to that the same way you did going global, where you're going to go to academic resources on the library's homepage, and then go to the database A through Z list, then go to the alphabet, and you're going to click on M for Mergent Online. And Mergent Online is for publicly traded companies, so think Twitter. Privco, so private company, Privco is another database here at the LTU library, and that offers information on private companies, so think X, right? When Jack Dorsey owned Twitter, it was public. When Elon Musk bought it, it became X, and it became private. So you would have to look for that same company in these 2 different databases. Mergent Online offers you a wealth of information. So I wanted to pull a company to investigate. And I went back into going global. I did a company search or an employer search, and I found Tata America International Corporation. And so most of our Indian students will have heard of Tata. It's a huge conglomerate. And they have 3 postings available for architect, like a computer systems architect, available in Austin, Texas, and in Florida. And you see the wages there again on the right-hand side, ranging from $101,000 to $144,000 a year. So those salaries could be different because they're different levels of positions. It could also be because they're different geographical areas, and the cost of living in Sunrise, Florida might be a lot higher than it is in Austin, Texas. And then you see that these salaries are from 2022. So we'll come back to this. But if I looked at the company information here on Tata America, I would find out how to contact them, and that would be it. So I took this company name, and I went into Mergent Online. Again, that's the database that we have here in our library. And this is such a small screen. It's hard to read, but there's so much information. Tata is just an enormous company. It's huge. And so we have all these subsidiary companies that are owned by Tata, and which one are you looking for? So I picked Tata Motors down there at the bottom. And it gives me a little more information about what kind of industries that they're in and where their parent company is located. And when I click on the Tata Motors screen, I get a lot of granular detail about that company. Amy, can you point to the tabs at the top as we go through? We have information, an overall company detail page. We have information on executives. Who's in charge of that company? Are they male, female? Are they minority? Have they been in that position a long time? The next tab is ownership. Who owns that company? Company financials, it's really important. Are they in trouble? Are they going to make it? Or are they sound in their finances? Equity pricing, annual reports, filings, news, what's going on, competitors, Report Builder is wonderful. You can pull a variety of information off this page to build a report. So maybe you're looking for something for your interview and you want to remember these different details, or maybe you need something specific for a class assignment and you can build a report in Word, Excel, or a PDF. You can also look at company reports and then sustainability reports. So there is really so much information here. You will be so well positioned to go to an interview after looking at something like this. The next database, or the third database that we'll take a look at, is called Privco, and that's for private company. And private company information is really difficult to find because in this country, they are not required to report on their financial information. So having this database available to you is going to be very helpful. In the Detroit metro area, you do have a lot of smaller companies that are private, and if you're interviewing with one of those, you may find them here and be able to go to your interview much better prepared. Privco is a resource for business and financial research on non-publicly traded companies. So this would include your family-owned companies, private equity-owned companies, venture-backed, and international but unlisted companies. And when you get into Privco, so again, it's the same way, the LTU homepage, academic resources, the A to Z database list, then click on your alphabet, P for Privco. And the landing page in Privco is a bit clunky. It looks like this. You just want to click on direct access, that big green bar there. And you'll enter Privco. Again, I went back to going global to find a private company, and I did a search here on control engineering, and I found that there are a variety of job titles. The occupation is important because you see that some are for electrical engineers, but some control systems jobs are for mechanical engineers. It mentions a couple of different companies. They're all in the Detroit, Michigan, Warren area. You have wages, and again, you have years that these wages were put on an H-1B visa ticket pull. And so I was a little curious about KCM offering $48 because I thought if that's an annual wage, I probably wouldn't want to work there. That's pretty low. And then I thought, well, maybe it's a typo, but that seems kind of odd. So I thought that required some further research on my part. And KCM is actually a private company. So I went to Privco with this company name, and I did a search. And KCM turns out to be a privately held company that offers staffing services. And so the $48 would be $48 per hour. And their total funding, Amy, can you point to that there? Total funding is $7.5 million. And their latest valuation is over $78.5 million. So they seem pretty comfortable. They're actually a minority-owned and founded woman-led company. So if you're looking to work in that type of industry or for a company that meets those credentials, it has that information there, keywords about the company. Underneath the description, it gives you some more information that they're located in Troy, Michigan. And then you have, at the top, you have your overview, you have your financials, funding, further details, and signals about the company. I did find out on my research about this company that in 2022, so in the height of the pandemic, when the government was offering a lot of loans for small private companies so they didn't fail, this particular company got between $5 and $10 million from the U.S. government, so they should be stable. But it was in there, and that was interesting for me. And at the top, next to the name, you have 3 different tools. The first one, the little box with the 3 dots, that's if you find an error in the information or you want to send Privco some updates about the company, you can do it there through that resource. The one in the middle that looks like a scroll is for citation. Now, you might not need that for yourself personally, but if you're doing a research assignment for your professor and for your class, you absolutely have to cite where you got that information from, and this is where you can easily pull it. And then the third option, Amy, thank you, is a little paper clip, and that's for you to create a link for this report that you can always get back to, so you could save that in your notes and have an easy way to find that information again. Okay, the last resource is the Consumer Price Index Inflation Calculator. It's so easy to use. And we've looked at a couple of slides from Going Global where it mentions salary, and somewhere from 2023, somewhere from 2022. I've seen them much older, back into the early 2000s. And what this allows you to do is to plug a dollar amount into the first search field, and then you get to pick the month and then the year. So I usually start with January. I don't know exactly when or what time of year these figures come from, but I would put my information there in the top, and then I want to compare that to today's dollars. And this database is always examining and compiling salary statistics across our country, so it does tend to run a month or two behind. It automatically defaults to September. Again, I picked the Tata slide with the $144,333 in 2022. Just in your head, do you think that number has gone up or down, right? We're going to find out in the Consumer Price Index calculator. So I have it, I plug it in as of January 2022, and I want to see if we can do it for October, but it didn't have those numbers yet. It pulled from the September number, and it's now $158,006.41. So that's gone up about 9.5%. It's $13,000 more. So you would want to know that if you were going into an interview. So you have this hidden gem to help you find salary, and then you have this calculator that helps you determine really what those dollars look like today if you go into an interview. So if you're interviewing for this job through Tata in Sunrise, Florida, and they say, yeah, we'd like to give you $100,000, you might go, wow, that's so much money. But is it, if they should be paying you closer to 160? It might give you some strength in the negotiations on what that really should look like. So I also have some other resources for you in addition to your Career Services Department and your International Services Department. If you have any questions on H-1B visa, you can click there for your United States Citizenship and Immigration Services H-1B visa page. There's a link to the Harvard Business Review on salary negotiation. And then BLS. BLS is for the United States Bureau of Labor and Statistics. They have a nice compilation page with an overview of wage data by area and by occupation. So you could search for engineering by type in Metro Detroit and get some ideas of what salaries are in this area. So thank you very much. What kind of questions do you have today on any of these resources, either through Career Services or through the library? Do you have any questions? Yes?
Could you advise me to a resource that ultimately aggregate what is a normal salary for a specific job?
A normal salary for a specific type of job in a specific area? That would absolutely be the third one, the Bureau of Labor Statistics overview page for wage data by area. That's a very good question. Thank you. And there's a lot of data on that page. You might have to search a little bit to find the occupation that you're looking for, or you might have to look at one that's similar but not exactly the same as yours. Very good question. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Tiffany, thank you so much. Amy, thank you for your help today. And also a big shout out to the audiovisual team, Sam, Norm, Rebecca, and Anthony. We really appreciate your support as always and all through the semester to help us make this possible. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Come back to us with your questions when you have them later. Thank you.